Alright, so I'm going to be replacing the keyboard on this 13-inch MacBook Pro model A1502, early 2015 model. Okay, so first thing you're going to want to do is, well, of course, make sure that your computer is off. So it looks like it's off. Okay. After that, you're going to want to remove the screws from the bottom. So the bottom is held in place with pentalobe 1.2 or P5 screws. Okay, so we're going to remove all of the screws. You want to keep them in order because they can be different size, shapes, and lengths. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Alright, so first I'm actually going to test the keyboard. The customer told me that after a liquid spill, it kept going into a not recovery mode, but like safe mode. Alright, after you remove all the screws, just go on the bottom and then pull the cover up like that. Okay, inside looks okay, it's not too dirty. Alright, I don't know what there's like a piece of a leaf inside their computer. But anyways, I'm going to test the keyboard first. So I'm going to do that and I'll be back. But anyways, to remove the keyboard, there's this plastic tab here. Let me zoom in so you can see better. So there's a plastic tab. You peel that up. Okay. Just like that. Then you can flip this little latch and then you can pull this back. And normally you would drain the battery power to do this, but I'm going to just test this first. So let's see here. Okay, so the connector goes in this way. So if it were face down that way, then the connector would go up that way. So I'm going to have it plugged in while it's upside down. Hopefully my head won't get in the way because I need to kind of look over the top to be able to get this in right. Come on, get in here. Okay, so I'm just getting that connector in. We're going to flip the latch down, and I'm going to carefully, while holding the keyboard in place so it doesn't cause any issues, open this up. Alright, I'm going to zoom out a bit. I don't even know what I'm looking at right now. Stuff's in the way. Okay, so I'm going to hold the keyboard in place and we'll use the power button to turn it on. Try not to press any other buttons. Okay, it is turning on, and we just want to see that it goes into regular mode. I'm going to cover this just in case it shows the username, which it probably will. I don't know if I showed it, but it did boot into normal mode. So I'm going to turn this off, and then I'm going to plug back in the other keyboard and see if it does the same. So we'll shut it down. Okay, alright, shutting down. Okay, so now we're gonna flip the latch back up, pull the cable back out. We're gonna reattach this connector. Sometimes this might just be dirty, so you can check that too, make sure, but usually liquid spill, it's going to be the keyboard itself is bad. Okay, so I'm going to try and put this cable back in. Let's zoom in. So it's a little tricky to plug this cable in, but just bend it that way. Come on. It's hard to do this on camera because normally I would have my head all the way over the top of the thing, and you wouldn't be able to see anything that I'm recording at that point. So I'm trying to keep my head out of the way. push that cable down. Come on, go in the slot. You know you want to. Yeah, I might have to do this off camera because it's hard to do this. Let me see. Okay, maybe there we go. Come on. Rotate it a little bit. Push that in. Okay, I got part of it in, but I need the whole thing in. Come on. There we go. I think that's all in. Put the latch back down. Alright, I'm going to boot it back up again. Let's see what happens. Okay, I'm going to cover that. I don't know why it just blacked out. Okay, so it is acting like something is being held or pressed, I think. It's taking longer than before to boot up. If this works, then I'm not even going to finish this video because I'm not going to replace... Oh no, okay, so here you can see it went to safe boot. Okay, so I'm going to shut this down because that means, yes, the keyboard is screwed up. Alright, I'm going to try one more time again. I'm going to put the other keyboard in just to test and confirm. Pop that connector out, pull that back. Oops. Oops, it's starting itself up, I think. Okay, with the keyboard disconnected, it started normally, so definitely the keyboard's causing problems. Shut it back down. Okay, so power button won't work because it's unplugged, but definitely with the keyboard disconnected, it didn't have the issue. We can try one more time if we want, just to make 100% sure. Okay, put that latch in again, power it up again. Covering up the logo. And at the top, let's see if it goes into that safe boot mode again. Looks like it's going because it's gonna do it because it's taking forever. Yep, safe boot again. Okay, so we're gonna shut this off and then we're gonna go ahead and replace the keyboard. Okay, turn off completely. I'm gonna disconnect the keyboard before it turns itself back on. Okay. Alright. Oh, it's turning itself back on anyways. Okay, so what you want to do after it boots up, of course, make sure to shut it down properly. Come on. Okay, shut it down. Okay, and then what you want to do here, wait till it's off, you want to disconnect the battery. So I've done a lot of these battery disconnecting, but I'll do a video, I guess I'll show it in this video too, so you don't have to go searching for it. Okay, so the battery connector is here, okay, underneath this plastic. So here you can see where the battery actually, the connector is. So you want to grab those corners and you want to pull that out. Here you can see that that connector is coming up, okay. So you want to pull it out like this. Hopefully you can see that in camera. It's hard to do this. Let's go ahead and pull this up just like that. Alright, so there you go. Battery's disconnected. And after you disconnect the battery, you want to press and hold the power button. But in this case, because the power button is part of the keyboard, what we're going to have to do, we're going to have to connect the new keyboard, okay, because the other keyboard is being weird. So let's plug in this new keyboard. Get it lined up, put the latch down. All right, make sure to open up the computer Alright, and then we're going to press and hold the power button here. Sorry. Press and hold the power button 10 to 15 seconds. Okay. And that will drain the power from the logic board so that you prevent damage to the LCD or LVDS connector. It's very important. If you don't do this, you can permanently damage something. Okay, so there we go. Flip the latch back up. Pull this connector back out. Okay. Alright, and now we are going to go ahead and start removing things. So this model, I think I actually have to remove the whole battery, so this is going to be a pain. This is one of the most annoying battery replacement models to do. We're going to need a T5 screwdriver and a T8, so Torx 5 and a Torx 8. And I don't think I need the Phillips one. Nope. Okay. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and completely disassemble everything. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to actually remove the screen here just to make it a little easier. So let's see, should I remove the screen? Yeah, we'll remove the screen just to make it easier. Okay, so this rubber piece, underneath on this side there's an adhesive this way, and underneath on this side there's an adhesive this way. So what I do is I use the smaller T5 screwdriver, get between the screws here, and usually using that I can pull up the adhesive. Sometimes it'll just tear or won't pull, but I try and save this adhesive here just like that. So here you can see it sticks to, actually it's really hard to see it in the video, but there you go. So it sticks like that. Okay, so we're going to do the same with the other side. Get the tool in this corner. Okay, and then between, and I'm kind of using my thumb to keep the rubber down, and there we go. You can see. Okay. Alright, so next we're going to actually disconnect the LCD LVDS connector. I go underneath this little metal latch here and just flip it up. Alright, you can also just lift up on this black plastic piece, but I find that's easier. Then I grab the latch on the two sides and then pull the connector back, and there we go. Alright, now we're going to remove all these wireless antennas as well as the eyesight or the webcam cable. So we're going to move this rubber out of the way. But first let's actually disconnect the webcam cable, or the wireless antennas. So I go down at the tails and then I just pull up, alright, at the tails and pull up, at the tail and pull up, just like that. Okay, after you do that, you can actually reach under here and pull up the eyesight or webcam cable here, right? We're gonna have to peel this up because there is some adhesive holding it. So just go under here and peel it up. So I try and stay as close to the adhesive as I can, and then I pull it back that way to try and keep it flat while I pull it up. Okay, just like this. Okay. And then I keep my hand on top of the cable so it doesn't all of a sudden like yank up when there's no more adhesive. So here you can see. Alright, so to disconnect this cable, what I do is I grab as close to the connector as I can, and then I just wiggle it side to side, this way, side to side, okay? Just like that as I slowly pull. And you want to go slowly, you don't want to just quickly yank it because otherwise you can rip this cable out from the connector, alright? So just like that. There we go. So now we're going to remove the screws here, alright, using the T5 or T8 screwdriver. And the easiest way to do this, let me zoom out here, is to open up the screen, okay, and then hang the screen off the edge of your desk like this. You want to open the screen all the way, okay, hopefully you can see, and then you just take out these 6 screws, okay, the 3 screws on each hinge. Okay, just like this. Again, this is going to be one of the most difficult or painful, annoying keyboard replacements, so just keep that in mind. It's not easy to replace this one, okay? Alright, so we got all 6 of those hinge screws out. Now we're going to have to get the T5 screwdriver, and there's some little brackets down here that we need to remove as well. Okay, let's remove that screw. Once you remove that screw, you can actually lift out this little silver thing here. I'm going to do that with some tweezers because the case that I left on top made it kind of difficult to reach. So we're going to use some tweezers here. Okay, and we're just going to grab this piece out and pull it up. So here you can see this little piece here. Okay, we're going to remove that from both sides. Alright, hopefully you can actually see in the video because I can't see what I'm recording right now, but there we go. And the little silver piece actually came up with the screw on this one, so it's a little bit easier. Okay, after you do that, let the screen fall to 90 degrees and then you can actually lift it out just like this. Okay, sorry if that wasn't in view of the camera, but hopefully you can figure that out. Okay, alright, so now we got the screen out. I'm going to flip this back over. Let me move this panel so I can actually see what I'm recording better. Alright, I'm going to actually clean this stuff out with a toothbrush and an air blower, and I will be back. Alright, see you in a bit. Alright, so I'm back. So I cleaned this up. Okay, and I cleaned up this as well. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and start removing components. Let me see, hopefully. Okay. So first thing we're going to do, let's see, it doesn't really matter what order. The main thing is the battery and pressing the power button. The rest you can do in any order. I'm going to start disconnecting cables. So this is the keyboard backlight connector. Let me actually zoom in. So the connector's right here. To remove that, just get underneath and then pop it up, just like that. Alright, there we go. Next, we're going to go ahead and remove the charge port. Again, you do want to keep all the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. In fact, most of them are. And if you put them in the wrong spot, you can actually damage your computer, so be very careful with that. Okay, so we're going to remove the 2 screws holding this charge port in place. Alright, once you do that, you can actually move this connector out. There is some adhesive here, so you do want to get underneath and kind of peel that up. But get the connector out, just like this. And then we're going to peel up the adhesive here, just like that. And then grab as close as you can to the connector as possible, and then kind of wiggle it to remove it. So just keep wiggling it as you pull, and it will pop out just like that. Okay. Next, let's see. We don't really have to remove the SSD, but I can show that if you're curious. There's just one screw here. I am going to just put the SSD back after you remove it. You can lift up the SSD slightly, and then you can wiggle it as you pull it back. And there you go, you can see the SSD. Alright, so I'm going to put that back in. I guess this will be more like a complete disassembly video. Alright, so now we're going to remove, let's actually remove these brackets here. Okay, so these brackets connect this board to the main board here. Okay, so we're just going to remove that. Again, try and keep the screws in order. I know it's going to be tough because there's a lot of screws, but hopefully you'll be able to keep track. I just put them in the layout that I remove them, and then that's usually how I can keep track of where the screws came from. Okay. Alright. Okay, so remove those. Once you remove those screws, you can get the connector out. I just use my fingernails under the 2 corners like this, one over here and one over here, and then just pull it up. Same thing with the other side. Alright, just go underneath and wiggle as I kind of pull it, and there we go. Right, set that cable aside. Again, keep in mind, try and keep track of all the screws. I'm going to put them in the layout on my desk to make it easier to keep track of. This rubber piece is supposed to tuck underneath here like that, but we're going to take that out anyway, so it's not too important. Okay, I'm going to keep the screws together so it's a little bit easier to keep track of. Okay. Alright, so next we can remove the trackpad cable here. So just pull this up. And then we're going to take it out completely just so it doesn't get in the way later. Alright, I'm going to zoom out. So to peel this up, again, you want to try and keep the cable flat. You don't want to bend it up too much like this if you can help it. So try and get underneath. And then try and pull the cable flat that way as you kind of peel it up. Just like this, okay? And then you want to keep pressure down here so you don't accidentally rip it up too quick. Just like that. Get this plastic tab up out of the way, and then flip this latch. Once you flip that latch, you should be able to grab the cable and kind of wiggle it and pull it out. There is some adhesive holding it down, so it is a little tough, but there we go. Here you can see the adhesive. Alright, I'll put that latch back down for now, and we'll just set this cable aside. Okay, keyboard's disconnected. Now we're going to remove this whole side of the motherboard, and then we'll do this side afterwards. Okay, so let's see here. First, let's remove the speaker down here. So there's 3 screws holding that in, and then we're going to remove the other screws for the other speaker as well, just to make it easier to keep track of. Because I'm going to put them in that pattern. Okay, take that out, and then this 3rd screw out. Alright, and then we're going to take the 3 screws out of this one as well. Okay. Just like this. Alright, now that we got all the screws out, we can actually take out both speakers. So to take out the speaker, you kind of want to pull from this side up slowly, okay? There's some adhesive holding this cable in place, so you want to slowly peel it out, just like this. And then to disconnect this, let me zoom in. If you have a small, thin pry tool, can use that. What I like to do, again, I like to get underneath with my fingernail, okay, like this, as close as I can to the connector, and then I can kind of pull it up just like that. Then I'll like to usually go from the front here, same thing, and then kind of slide it over and pull that side up as well. Okay, there we go. So we got that connector out, and we can set this speaker aside. Alright, there's a lot of parts to this thing. Alright, so now we're going to do the other speaker. I guess I'm going to have to zoom out because I can't reach it. Alright, so same idea. This speaker, lift it up from this side closer to the inside. And then you want to route this cable underneath. So let me zoom in. Okay, we're going to get this cable, slide it around, and then lift it over. And then just like before, I use my fingernail underneath here. Get as close to the connector as possible, and then pry up that connector just like that. And then you can kind of wiggle it to pull it up, or go from this side and help pull it up that way, okay? Just like that. Alright, so now we got both speakers out. Let's zoom out again. Under here, you got the microphone connector. Oops, actually, let me zoom in on that. Okay, so we're gonna disconnect the microphone. So you want to peel up this black plastic. Okay, this is just an adhesive strip. Okay, peel that up. It's kind of stuck. There we go. Okay, once you peel that back past this latch, you want to flip that latch. I already actually flipped it, so flip that latch up. And then once you flip that latch up, you can use this tab to kind of help you pull this connector back. If that doesn't work, I like to use a needle like this. Let me zoom in some more. Okay, I like to use a needle like that, get underneath completely, and then I use that to kind of help pull this connector back like that. Okay, all right, just like that. Now let's zoom back out again. We're gonna have to remove all the keyboard, or not the keyboard, the motherboard screws now. Okay, so there's one screw here holding the fan or the heatsink radiator down. Okay, move that one screw. The fan screws we can remove as well. I'm only going to remove 2 of them, so we'll remove these 2. We'll leave this one attached so that we can actually leave the fan connected. But if you do want to remove the fan, you would remove this screw as well, and then you would undo this latch and push that connector out. But I'm going to leave that in, so I'm going to go like this. Okay. Alright, so after that, we're going to go ahead and remove this screw up here. Okay, again, I am going to leave that one screw there. We're going to take out this screw up here. Then we're going to go ahead and remove this screw here. Move this screw down here. Alright, then we'll remove the screw up here. That should be all the screws holding this top part of the motherboard in place. Let me actually rearrange my screws to make them easier to keep track of. Alright, so once we've removed all those screws, we are going to have to disconnect this board here. And if I remember correctly, yeah, there's a screw under there. Okay, so let's remove this. So this has these little pinch connectors here. Okay, so let's see if I can show. So on the side here, you want to pinch these 2 in, and then when you pinch them, you can pull this connector back just like that. You might have to wiggle it a bit, but there we go. Alright, so now let's zoom back out and remove the logic board or the motherboard. Okay. So we got all of that out. The fan will come up because we left this one screw in. Let me zoom out a little bit more. Alright, so we'll lift this up just like this. You want to try and hold on to the edges of the motherboard. Pull this battery connector back as well. And slowly lift this. You want to be very careful. Make sure you didn't forget any connectors like the keyboard backlight, the microphone cable, and stuff like that. Alright, so here we go. We got the whole motherboard out. The bottom looks okay. I don't see any signs of liquid. There's some like shininess here. I don't think that's liquid, so we're just gonna leave that be. Right, you want to set that aside. I'm gonna just set it on top of the metal cover, so that will help prevent any like static buildup. So just like that. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to set this aside. Let me move this somewhere safe. Okay. Alright, and then we're going to remove this. We're going to need the T8 screwdriver again, but let's remove the T5 screw down here first. Okay. Just like that. Then we'll go ahead and get the T8. What did I do with that? Okay, let's get the T8 screwdriver back, and we'll remove that one screw up here. Alright, once you remove that, then you can actually lift this thing up and carefully wiggle it to pull it out. Here we go. This is the wireless card. If you want to remove it, just like the SSD, one screw, lift it slightly and pull it, wiggle and pull it back. So here you go. It's pretty clean here too. There's a tiny bit of dust. I'll clean that off, but other than that, it looks good. Okay, set that aside on the tray as well. Okay, and then, yep, for this one, we are going to have to remove the battery just to get the keyboard out. This is one of the most annoying ones. Okay, so we're going to get the T5 screwdriver. we're going to remove the battery screw here. Okay, the big problem with removing this battery is putting new adhesive is going to be a pain. You can kind of just use a thicker foam adhesive or something, but yeah, it's kind of a pain to work on this battery. If you take it out, it's usually you'd have to like replace it or throw it away. Okay, so let's see here. We got this. I might just use foam on top to help push the battery in place, but we'll see. I might just roll up some pieces of tape and make it thicker. Okay, so to remove the battery, I've done a lot of these before, but I just use a thin pry tool like this, and then my my pry tool has like a slight excuse me, too much talking, has a slight bend in here, and I angle it so that the bend goes down, so when I scrape it actually goes underneath the batteries. So just like this, and then I take that and I just push the tool through, just like this. Okay, just like that, going all the way down. Alright, and there you go. You can see we got one pack lifted, but they're all connected, so we have to actually do all of them. Okay, so we'll go down this way, and then just continue going down. Cutting all the adhesive underneath the battery. Okay. And if you think this is bad, you'll see how bad it is when we have to actually pull the keyboard out of here. So if you can find a whole like keyboard assembly, like this whole piece, for pretty cheap, I would recommend doing that, but you can decide if you want to do it or you want to save money by doing what I'm doing. So it just depends on the price difference. Okay, so we got that side down. I flipped it over. We're going to get this side out. Okay. And when you get a replacement of this, it'll usually come with the battery and everything, but they're going to be used. You can't really find a brand new of this. The only way is if you actually have Apple do it, but then it's going to cost you a lot. Alright, so we're going to keep going and cutting this adhesive out. Ow. Okay. This. And you want to be careful not to damage the battery, because if you damage the battery, then you're going to have to replace that too. So make sure that you're just cutting the adhesive. Alright, so these two packs are slightly raised up because of the trackpad, so what you're going to have to do is lift these two up out of the way, and if you can see in here, there's this raised metal piece. Hopefully you can actually see that. So you're just going to have to raise the tool a little higher and then cut underneath it there. Okay, alright, so I'm going to do that. Oh man, this thing is like tough. Why is it so hard to cut this adhesive? Come on. Okay, there we go. I'm going to try the plastic razor blade and see if I can actually cut or scrape the adhesive off. Even though, since I'm not going to scrape it off, I can't really scrape it off the battery, then it won't be that useful, but we'll try. Alright, so continue going down. Just going down the entire length of the battery to make sure you cut all the adhesive out. Okay. And you want to be, well, since we already removed the cable for the trackpad, you don't have to worry. And then the keyboard's already broken, so you don't have to worry. But normally, you'd want to be careful when you put the tool this way, because if you damage this cable, then your keyboard won't work anymore. So keep that in mind if you're trying to save your keyboard and everything and you're just doing a battery replacement. Alright, we're going to flip it over and we're going to do this side now. Battery is so difficult to remove. Okay. Just that. Let me keep going down. Alright, sorry it's hard to see, but I'm doing what I can. Alright. Alright, and then usually what you can do is to check if you cut through all the adhesive is you kind of slide the tool side to side like that. Okay, so it went all the way up until this part, of course, because we didn't cut the adhesive over there. So you have to kind of turn the tool slightly more angled that way. Okay. Alright. Back over and make sure we get the other side. Alright. Once you get most of it, this one corner will be very difficult. So what I do is I just use the pry tool and I slowly pry it up. Okay. Oh, it doesn't look like it wants to come out. So if that's not going to work, then what you got to do, you can actually lift this up from here, hopefully. Let's see here. Alright. And then now we can get the tool in here and cut here. But be careful because you don't want to damage the trackpad. Alright. Okay. This is kind of more dangerous, but there we go. Okay, so now we got all the adhesive cut here. So now you can actually lift the battery up. Okay, that, and there you go. So here you can see all the adhesive is cut there. So to put like new adhesive, you'd basically put the adhesive like here, here, here in the middle. You can put some on the smaller pieces like here, but now that it's like cut up, it's a lot harder to put new adhesive. Anyways, I'm gonna set this battery aside. Okay, let me see if I can scrape this old adhesive out with this new tool I got, which is a little plastic razor blade. Okay, let's see if this will make my job easier in the future. Ooh, it's nice. Okay, let's see if after I get that, can I peel these ones? Oh, these are the peelable ones, so it's not too bad actually. So this isn't helping too much with this one because this one's actually easier if I get and peel it. So I guess I can use it to start the thing and then I can peel this off. But again, since we're not going to put the adhesive in the same places, I don't really need to peel all of this up. But I just wanted to test this tool, and it looks like it will work pretty well for what I do. Okay, so here you can see this peels off pretty nicely with this razor blade. Okay, that looks like this tool will be useful to me. Well, this is really fluffy here, so I'm going to try and just clean it up a little bit. If you want, you can just fast forward through this. Okay. Kind of works, kind of doesn't. Maybe because this blade is like old. Got used a little bit. Okay. Works pretty well. Okay, let's try it on this side. So it looks like if you use it, you want to kind of scrape slowly. Once it curls over, you want to just peel it, I guess. Sorry for this boring part, but if you're doing a new battery replacement, then you'd want to do this. You don't have to use a tool like this. Usually what I do is I use my fingernail to scrape up some, and then you can peel this like that. And it actually, if you can do that, as you can see, it comes out a lot cleaner, at least for the most part. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, this model, we're going to have to actually peel up this piece, or we're going to have to pull up the trackpad cover. Okay. Looks like I have to actually take the screws out to remove this one. Okay. Well, this adhesive is going to be a pain, so I'm probably going to leave a bunch of it. I'm just going to peel up majority of it. Okay. Let me see if I flip the blade over and use the other side. Maybe this one got too worn out. Let's try it. Oops, not like that. Which side did I use too much? I can't even tell. Okay. Go. Okay, let's flip it over. I'm gonna be careful not to damage this trackpad. Most of it is gone. Maybe this one last piece. so we got most of that adhesive off. So next what we're gonna do, we might actually need a T3 screwdriver for this. Okay, so this metal plate is covering part of the keyboard, and I'm pretty sure T5 isn't going to cut it. Nope. Alright, so we're gonna have to use, I think it's a T3. Yep. Alright, so we're gonna have to use a T3. I'm pretty sure T4 is a little bit too big, right? Yep. Okay, so we're gonna use a T3 screwdriver, and we're gonna remove those. There's 3 screws on each side here, and then the 4 screws up there. Okay. Alright. Sorry, I didn't realize you would need this extra tool here. Actually, I'm gonna put these here just to keep track of them easier. Actually, no. I'm running out of room on my desk to put all these screws. There's too many. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. If you think this is the tough part, just wait till you see what's going on with the keyboard. I'm most likely going to have to use epoxy for this thing. Okay. A bunch of chopped up keyboard, or not keyboard, a bunch of chopped up credit cards. Okay. Alright, so once we got all those screws out, we can actually lift this metal plate up. And we'll set that aside. Alright, so here you can see we have access to the keyboard now. And you want to make sure that your replacement keyboard has the same. Okay, so they put that tape on top. Okay, looks good. And the keyboard, depending what's going on, they actually sell replacement. This is the backlight, this black plastic piece. Okay, and now we're gonna be peeling up this black plastic piece. So to do that, I use a needle. Okay, and this is somewhat of a pain because they wrap the plastic over here. So what I do is I get the needle in here. I don't know if you can see. Let me try and zoom in on that. So I get the needle in this little gap here, and then I just slide the needle over, okay, to try and get the adhesive up. Alright, and then once you get the adhesive up, you can go underneath and you can kind of peel it up just like this. Alright, but you want to be careful because they do put stuff that will cause you to break things. So I am going to try and use this. I've never used this for this kind of thing before. But let's see if I can get that underneath. And no, I'm probably going to end up breaking something with that. So we're just going to do it the old-fashioned way and slowly peel this thing up. Okay? So just peel it up like this. Again, you want to try and keep it flat if you can. While you're peeling it up, and you want to go slowly. If you go too quick, the keyboard backlight stuff will tear underneath, so you want to go slowly. And again, I'm pulling it that way as I lift up to try and keep it as flat as possible. Okay, and then when you get to like sharp corners and edges like that, you want to try and use a way, like, so I use the needle to kind of help pull it. And once you get it past there, you can kind of pull it some more. Because if you try and pull with the sharp thing, it'll just tear like a line through there. Okay? So you want to go slow. I'm pretty sure parts of it's going to tear. So we'll see. Okay? So I'm slowly pulling this back as I lift it up. Let me zoom out some actually. Okay. I'm slowly pulling it as I peel it up. Okay, and you can see this corner here, it might possibly tear, but we'll see what happens. All right, and here you can see underneath. Okay, it's actually holding together pretty well. A lot of times this grid part ends up tearing. Okay, so if you're pulling it as you kind of lift it, you can see it's okay, but sometimes this will tear, and then you'd want to use like a needle or something to get underneath and help it along. Okay, here we go. Oh, the keyboard part here, we're gonna have to peel this off. So this cable's not part of the backlight. So you want to peel this up, and then there's this tape adhesive here. This tool will probably help with that. So let's try this. Actually not. Okay, it does help. I have to kind of go at an angle. Nope, is it cutting into it? Kind of. Okay, so I'm just gonna peel it up by hand. Okay. This black tape piece here, you want to actually, if you can transfer it over to the new one. So we're just peeling this up. Okay, so there you go. And let's peel this up actually. So I'm gonna peel this piece while I hold the keyboard cable down. Okay. Whoa, how is it peeling that off? It's weird. Okay, let's try and peel this way then. Let's peel it this way until it's going under backwards, and slowly peel it off and hope that it doesn't steal the adhesive. Okay. It's stealing the foil adhesive, but it is what it is. Okay, so we got that. Parts of the foil adhesive came off, but we're just going to set that aside. So this is the keyboard connector. This is not going to do anything. We're throwing that because that's part of the broken keyboard. All right, and then we're going to just continue peeling this up. Again, you want to kind of pull it that way as you peel it. And there's more of these slightly sharp edges that you might tear it on, so just be careful. Okay, slowly peeling this. Okay, once you get it all the way, then you can go ahead and peel this off as well. Okay. And here you can see, this is the keyboard backlight connector. Okay, and you can't really actually even see where the backlights are in this thing, but they're in here. Okay, actually I don't even know where in this thing the backlights are. Oh, they're actually along this upper edge here, I think. Like it feels, that's where it's like thicker, so I think that's actually where the actual LEDs are. Anyways, we'll set that aside. So if you look underneath, as I was saying, this is a real pain to replace because all of these little circle things are rivets, and usually when you try and remove these, they're gonna just like shoot out and get lost. So what I do is I get a plastic bag and I put the keyboard in there, and then I just rip it out inside that bag. But starting the keyboard, because there's no screws at all on this model, it's a huge pain. We have to find a point where we can kind of pry it up and pop out some of the rivets to get started. Usually this is the easiest part to start because they're more spread out. So usually I will start by popping out rivets from this side, and then once I get enough of them, like maybe like this many, then I can grab the edge of the keyboard and just rip the whole thing out. So let me see if I can get underneath here. I might have to use a flathead screwdriver. Okay, let's see here. So I'm gonna use a small flathead screwdriver. I have this small like number 2 one. So let's see, I'm gonna get underneath here. So I don't know if you can see, but right under here, oops, sorry, there's actually a gap. It won't focus there for some reason. But right in between, there you go, there's actually a gap here. So that's what makes it easier also to start at that spot. And there's also the same thing on this side. So if you want, you can try starting on this side if you want, and that might help. But let me see. I'm going to try with this one, and I'm going to actually use a thicker flathead because it has enough room. So let's use a size 4. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I get the flathead screwdriver in there, and I'm going to keep my finger over this rivet so it doesn't fly out, and I'm going to just pry it up. Okay, just like this. Get underneath and then pry it up. There we go. And then sometimes the rivet will survive, and other times it gets destroyed. Looks like that rivet got destroyed. So now we're going to go ahead onto this side, and we're going to try and pry this one up. Okay. So same thing. Just keep your finger on top, and then we're going to pry this up. There we go. And this rivet survived. So here you can see the top of the rivet's okay. Let me see if I can zoom in and show you. So here you go. You can see this rivet survived. It has the little pointy part and then the top of it. Okay. So what we're gonna try and do is save these kinds of rivets, but you can't really pry along each one. I'll try. I've never done it that way before, and it'll probably take like a way longer time. But let's see. I don't know if I'll be able to save. We'll try. All right, we'll pry. Now that we got that one out, let's actually go this way, but we're gonna have to be careful because the microphone cable's over there. So let's go over here. Let's see if we can pry this one up. Okay, it looks like that rivet did survive. These rivets are kind of also a pain to take out, so once you pop them up. Okay, so get that one. Right, this might actually work. I'm gonna try just prying all of them out and see what happens, but normally I don't do it this way. But if it saves the rivets, then it might actually be a better way to do this. Okay, so I'm going over. Keep my thumb on top of that rivet, and then let's pry it up. Did that rivet survive? I don't think so. Nope, it ripped through. Okay, so I'm probably not going to do that because they are still just breaking. So we might as well just do it the faster way. Okay, so now I'm going to pry another one down here. And then once I get enough, I'm going to do the bag method, and I'll show you what that is in a bit. So actually, I'm going to pop out this function key so that way I can at least make it useful. So I made a video on how to remove the keyboard keys. I'm going to remove this one. If you want to know how to do that, you can watch my other video because it's probably not going to be clear on this because I'm just doing it quickly. Okay, oops. Alright, so this key, I don't need to really do anything with it because this keyboard's gonna be junk after this. But anyways, let's go over here and let's pry up this one now. Okay. Come on. Yep, that doesn't want to pop up. Oh, there we go. Okay, that rivet seemed to have survived. Go. We saved 3 out of 5. If I do it the other way where I rip them out, I think a lot more are actually gonna fail, but if I do it this way one by one, it's gonna take like hours and hours, so that's not gonna happen. Right, let's pop that one up. That rivet survived. Nice. Oh, it didn't fall out. There we go. Okay, so we got 4. Maybe I should do it the long way. I don't know. It's going to take way too long. Okay, I'm going to try and pop this one out. Actually, I don't know how I'll do it when I run out of like this frame to use as leverage. Let's see. Oh, I'm going to pop out this key as well. Okay. Yep, after this I'm going to use the plastic bag method. I'll show you in a bit. Alright, let's try and pop this one out. Nope, that one broke. Yep. Okay, I'm going to use the plastic bag method now. Okay, so I'll get a plastic bag and I'll be back. Alright, so I'm back and I got one of these small plastic trash bags. You want to be careful with this because this can generate a lot of static, so you don't want to be touching the motherboard and logic board stuff while handling the bag. And then you want to make sure to ground yourself, touch something metal to drain before you start grabbing the motherboards, otherwise you can cause damage to your computer. Alright, so what I do is I take the plastic bag and put the keyboard in there, and then and then what you do is since we got out enough screws here, you can see I can actually grab the keyboard. Alright, so what you do is you grab hold of that, and it's going to be a pain. Actually, let me pull out some of these keys to make it easier as well. You don't need to pull out these keys, but I don't want to like just damage all these keys trying to rip this thing out, so I'm going to use the needle and I'm going to remove some of these larger keys like the shift key and the caps lock key. The rest I can actually leave in there and it's okay. But here we go. Let me try and pull this shift key out. Sorry, I'm gonna, well, let me see if I can do this in camera. So these keys are already kind of coming out. That's fine. And I need to get the hinge out here. It's hard to do this since I kind of dented the keyboard already pulling it out. Okay. One latch out. Try and get this side out. Oh, there we go. Wasn't supposed to break like that. It actually damaged that. That key's actually not going to be usable anymore. Alright, so let's take this and this metal piece out. Take that plastic piece out as well. Guess we can take this one out as well. Yeah, we'll just leave it. Okay, so like I was saying, put this in the plastic bag. Okay. And then what you want to do, you hold on this keyboard and you hold this down and you just rip this thing out. Okay. It's going to be a pain, but yeah. Alright, so grab that and we just let it rip just like that. And as you get all the way closer to the bottom, so this is going to take quite a bit of strength. Maybe I should actually pop these out with the screwdriver to make it easier first. So let me do that if I can. Let's get underneath here and let's try and pop these up. Okay, I think that one survived. Okay, set that aside. This one. Okay. Oop, that one survived. Nice. If you can, try and save as many of these little rivets as possible. I'm setting them aside in a little pile. Okay. And let's get this last corner one. Hopefully we can save this one too. Okay. Okay, that looks like it survived as well. Oops, sorry, my head's getting in the way. Alright. Doesn't want to come out from the keyboard. That's weird. Come on. Oh, that rivet's stuck in the keyboard for some reason. Alright, so hopefully that's enough that we can actually rip out the rest by pulling on the keyboard. Okay. Again, hold this and pull it. So there we go. You can hear them popping. There we go. That's what we want to do. And I'm just going to rip these all out. A lot of the rivets won't survive, but that's what we got to do. Okay. Continue ripping this whole thing out. Just like that. I should actually probably save that keyboard key. Let's see if I can pull that out. And then you kind of want to shake the keyboard around in there to get all the rivets out. Okay, or the broken pieces of rivets. Alright, so I'm going to take the spacebar key out before I destroy it. Sometimes people break these keyboard keys or they damage the hinges, so I'm going to take it out to make it useful. Sorry, I'm going to be slightly doing this off camera because it's hard to film this. I did do a video of this keyboard key replacement thing, so if you're curious how to remove all these keys, I do have a video of that up. Sorry, my head's going to be in the way. Okay. Keyboard key. Okay. Hopefully that came out completely. Hopefully I didn't break it. Okay, looks good. Set that aside. Alright, let's continue ripping this keyboard out. Put this back in the bag. Uh-oh, I'm dropping the rivets out. Didn't mean to do that. Okay, you want to try and save as many rivets as you can. Might have dropped some. They're falling on my pants. Okay. Alright. So hopefully I don't knock everything over. Okay. Go ahead and continue ripping this keyboard out. Try and keep the bag over it. And let's just pull this thing just like that. And you can see it's starting to come out a lot easier. And just keep ripping this thing out completely. Okay. Knocking stuff over. Okay. Make sure all the rivets stay in the bag. Uh-oh. The rivets are flying everywhere. That's not good. Alright, and then let's finish pulling this thing out. Come on. Yeah. some of the rivets. It helps to not do this, like normally I wouldn't do it straight up. I'd have this in my lap and then I would face the keyboard down and then I would hold the top like this and pull it this way. I guess I can do that on camera. I thought it wouldn't be visible. So I would normally do it like this. Oh, why is this last bit so difficult to rip out? I don't know why, but the last few are being really difficult. Oh, I'm cutting my hand on this. Okay, I'm gonna do it. I have to do it this way because normally it's easier facing it down this way. You want to pull the parts that are closer to the spacebar side down rather than the function keys. So I don't know if I can do it while it's on the desk. I'll try. Kind of. Okay. I might lose the rivets though, so. Yep, no, I'm gonna try and do it in my lap. Nope, no. For some reason these last few are just very difficult. I don't know. Okay. It's coming out now. There we go. Okay, and you want to be careful because sometimes the rivets will get stuck in this keyboard and then you'll lose them. Alright, so I'm going to shake this up. Okay. So you want to check the keyboard, make sure it's not stuck to any of the adhesive parts. You'll see like some of the rivets where they didn't tear up properly, like here. There's like the little piece that's still stuck. If it has like part of the head of the rivet on there, you do have to rip that off or it's not gonna sit properly. So let's see, I'm just checking to see if there's any bad ones. Okay, so some rivets are falling out of the keyboard. Okay. And sometimes you do have to like press on the keyboard to feel like some of the rivets are stuck in there. Okay. If you want, you can actually uncurl this keyboard. But usually most of it's going to be unusable. Like sometimes you can reuse these keys if you do break or lose your other keys. So try and keep it nice. Okay, if you want, you can save this for later if you do happen to need the keys. Okay, so there we go. Seems like I don't think there's any. Yeah, I think we got all the rivets out already. Okay, you can check if there's any stuck to the adhesive on here. This one is stuck in this corner for some reason. I don't know why. Oh, there we go. Alright, so now we can toss this old broken keyboard aside. And all these old keys. Okay. Alright, so we're going to just set that aside. Let me see, where can I put this? I'll just set it on the ground here. Alright, now we're going to check here, make sure there's some of these broken off rivet heads that I can throw in the garbage. So if you just see like a ring, you can throw those away. Those silver rings are the broken rivets. Okay, so next what we're going to do to get as many rivets as you can. So the reason why we use the bag, you want to have the opening side facing up, shake it up, trap some air in it, and then like hit it around like that. Okay, and that will get all the rivets to fall to the bottom. And then the best way to collect all the rivets is turn it over sideways, make sure you flip it around, and then as you do this, I don't know if you'll be able to see, actually I don't think I can show it, okay, so when you have it sideways like this, you can let some air out, and then you kind of want to squeeze it together here, because all the rivets will fall to the bottom of that. So let me try and show it. So if I squeeze it now, I don't know if you can see, but all the rivets are in here. Let me let out more air. And here you can see all the rivets are there. Okay, so let me try and do this better. Try and get all the rivets to end up on the bottom. Okay, and then once you get all the rivets in the bottom of one spot, you kind of like grab that one area, and then you open the bag up, and then you push your hand that's holding all the rivets through. Okay, so you can see my hand is open like that. And then you just open this part, and here you can see all the rivets here, okay? And then to get those rivets out, you just hold it like that. Make sure it's opened up, get your other hand, put it on top, and then open up that part that you were closing off, okay? And dump them all in. You might have to do it like multiple times. Sometimes the rivets, not all of them fall out, so you might have to do this multiple times. Okay, so here you can see, now we got all the broken and the whole rivets. Then just turn the bag inside out again. I'm going to put all the stuff here. And then you're going to have to sift through and find all the whole rivets and separate them from the broken ones, okay? So I'm just going to pile them all together like that. Alright, then we're going to do it again. Get the bag, shake it up. Same thing, you want to get some air in it so that it can pump up and get all the rivets to the bottom. Shake it all to one side, okay? Okay, and then you can check. Looks like the only rivets left are broken ones, so I don't really care for those. Throw the bag aside. Let me check on the floor real quick. I'll be back. Okay, I think I saved as many as I can, so now I'm going to separate out the good ones from the bad ones, okay? And then all the broken rivets we're going to have to replace with epoxy, so that's why you kind of want to save as many as you can. Alright, so now I'm just separating the broken ones with the good ones. A lot of them broke, so we're going to have to epoxy a lot of those things. Okay, hopefully you guys were able to save a bunch. The more you save, the easier the epoxy thing will be, because, well, I'll show you, hopefully, what happens when you got a bunch that didn't survive. But, okay, I'm just separating all of these out. Okay. Okay, that's quite a few that we saved. A lot of times a lot more break, so we're pretty lucky. Let me pull these out and put them all together. So these are all the ones that survived, and we're gonna have to push all of those back in. So these are all the broken ones. I think we actually saved more than we broke on this one, so that's good. A lot of times less than half of them survive. Okay, alright, so now that we got all of that out, we're gonna get this. Again, if you have ones that didn't survive, you're gonna have to break those off. So actually, I'm gonna use my pliers here. Let's see if I can do it with these. And any of the ones that didn't survive, we're gonna have to rip those tops off. Or if you're lucky, you can actually even rip the whole broken rivet out, so that's good. I'm gonna try using these pliers and see if I can remove all the broken rivets. If you can, that would be the best, but most likely you won't be able to, so I'm gonna try and grab that. Yep, nope, that's not coming out. I don't think so. Nope, that just broke. Okay. So we'll see what I can do. I'm gonna try and rip out some of these broken ones. Nope. So I just got lucky with that one. Okay, I'm not gonna waste time ripping out those. I'll just rip out the ones that aren't circular. So if the rivets, the way they broke, if they aren't round, if they have like some jagged stuff sticking out, you do have to completely break those or rip them out somehow. Otherwise the other keyboard won't go down properly. Okay, so I'm just trying to break off the excess metal stuff there. Okay, that's probably good. Just make sure that it's either a small post like this or the tip is thinner. So this one, you can see it's like messed up. I'm gonna have to rip that out. Or at least rip off the rest of the metal disc that didn't come out. Okay, that's already good enough. It won't let me rip it out, so just gotta get the metal debris off. Okay, you want to check all of those, make sure they're smooth. Okay, looks good. So now that we got that, I'm gonna just use a toothbrush and I'm gonna brush out the debris that's all around, and I'll be back. Alright, I'm back, so let's continue this. So the keyboard, you want to get lined up, right? Make sure it goes in place, and you want to check and make sure that you can actually push everything flat against the frame, because if it's not going to sit flat against the frame, then you're going to have a problem later. So make sure everything sits flat against the frame. Okay. All right. I'm gonna check the other side. Make sure none of the keyboard is like sunken under. Make sure the keys all can stick out about the same amount as you push on the back. Okay, make sure there's no weird sunken keys. Okay. Looks okay. Alright. So, once you've done that, we're going to have to use a larger sized tip. Let's see. So I like to use a rounded one that's small and about the same size as the tops of the rivets. You can use slightly bigger, but here you can see these circle holes. So you want it to at least fit in there. So let's see what would be good. If you have a regular, I wouldn't use a Torx one, I would use like a hex. But I think a 2.0, actually no, a 2.5 would be good. So if you have a hex 2.5, yep, that should be perfect. All right, so what you want to do, I'm going to zoom in. But what you want to do is, if you can get the outer edges first, those are the most important. So what you do, you take the rivet, okay, and you have to drop it into, drop it into the place there, and then you take the screwdriver and push it down on top, okay? So just like that, and make sure that the rivet locks into place, okay? And you kind of want to go around the whole border if you can, but the most important, first you go for like the corners. So if you weren't able to save too many, then you kind of want to hope that you got some close to the corners and the edges, and just space them evenly. Okay, so we're going to do this corner, Push that down. Okay, just like that. Then we'll go to the other corner here. Alright, just like this one. Grab that another rivet. Luckily, all the corners have at least one. But again, you're not always lucky. And I'm going to show you afterwards what you have to do when that happens. Okay, so you're going to push this in. Alright. And you can check, and good thing I'm pushing the button on the bottom and you can see it actually moves a little. Alright, now we're going to get this corner one and we'll put that. The hard part is dropping these in. You want to be careful because if you drop it into these little parts in these holes where the keys go, then you're going to have issues pressing down the keys, and then you have to try and get the little rivets out, which can be a pain sometimes. So, oops. And this is going to be tough, so, but you get the idea. This is pretty much all there is to it. I'm going to be doing this probably for another hour or something, but you're welcome to stay. I'm going to just continue doing this. Oops, sorry. So we're putting another corner screw here, or rivet. Alright, once you get the rivets, if you can go along the edges, you kind of want to, just in case you lost some of the rivets, I like to skip if I can. So here, there's like 2 here. So since I have 1 rivet here, I'm going to skip, put 1 there. Since I have a rivet here, I'm not going to put 2 here. Oops, since I have a rivet in this corner, I'm not going to put 2 here. I'm going to skip 1 and then put 1 there. And then when I finish putting all the rivets spaced apart like that, whatever I have left, I'll fill in the holes wherever there's not as much support. Okay, that's how I decide where to put these rivets that survived. And usually the edges are kind of more important, but once you get most of them in, you should be okay. Right, so now you can see I just have like 1 here, and then I skip 1, next one, skipped 1, next one, skip 1, next one. And if I push all these keys here, they're okay. Like all the keys on this side, they're for the most part okay. Alright, so we're gonna just shove all these rivets in. Alright, then we're going to go to the other side. As you can see, these are all broken, so we don't really have a choice. We're going to have to, we can just put 1 here. But yeah, so what you do next, because these are all broken, there's 1 available here, so we're going to put that one there. So it's kind of like use your best judgment, decide what will provide the most support throughout the whole keyboard, and then just focus on those first. And then after that, we're actually going to be putting epoxy on the rest, so it's not too big of a deal if you don't have all the rivets, but you want them spaced out evenly to where it helps hold the keyboard in place. Okay, so since we already have 1 here, there's another hole there, but we're going to skip 1 and put that there. Okay. And that's because the whole top row, all the function keys, those rivets almost never survive. So, okay, so we put 1 there, 1 there. We can skip and then put another 1 here. Again, depending how yours broke, it will differ. So use your best judgment. Okay, we got 1 space up here, so I'm going to put that. That's the first of any of these function keys that had a rivet survive, so we're going to put that there. And we can space these actually. So we put 1 there, let's skip 1 and put 1 here. It's hard to pick up. It's a little bit difficult to pick up these rivets and get them into the right place. And then you got to smush it down. Alright. And then That one's broken. All of these are broken, so I'm gonna put another one here. Actually, let's see. So we got one up in that corner. There's not much here, so I'm gonna actually put one here. Let me zoom out more. Just because there's not much else nearby, so I'm gonna put one there. And I'm gonna put one down here for more support on this edge. Actually, wait, why did I do that? I forgot I did the skip. Oops, I should have actually put that there. Well, we're gonna skip one over here, and we'll put it over here now. Okay. And one way you can also check is like if you push on it and you see like the keyboard bowing up a lot more, you can put one further over there. So now we got one there, skip there. We don't have one there, so I'm going to put one here because there's a really wide gap. I'm actually going to put them all down this line. But pretty much just, yeah, use your judgment. Wherever you feel that there's too much area in between where there isn't any support, then just add one there. Okay. So this part's wiggling a lot. I'm actually going to put it on this center, this one over here. Okay. So now we got a triangle. There's like one here, and then one here. So yeah, I mean, you just have to use your judgment. There's two down here that usually the spacebar needs a lot of support, so I'm actually going to put these two down there. Let's see, actually, I'll put one here and I'll put one here, so this has a skip as well. And then if there's any leftovers, you can kind of adjust, all right? So this process kind of takes some thinking, and it's not like just put them wherever. But any place where you run out, we'll be adding the epoxy, so you don't have to worry too much about that. Actually, I'll try. I have some tiny screws. I'm going to try and put those in as well. And then the rest I can use the epoxy, so. Okay, let's see. So we got that. Alright, there's a big empty gap on both of these, so I'm going to put this corner one here. I do have some tiny screws that I can use that I will try and see if those will work. I haven't used them yet, so. Alright, let's try. The whole bottom row has no rivets, so I'm going to skip one here and put that there. Okay. There's probably going to be a lot extra. I'm probably only missing like 4 or 5. So those I can replace with screws. The rest I'm going to be putting these rivets. So I'm going like a zigzag pattern if I can. Again, it really depends on which of your rivets survived, so. Okay. That one's kind of far, so I'll put that one. Yeah, I don't think I really lost too many of the rivets, so it's more just the fact that a lot of the rivets actually broke, so we'll see. Okay. There's not much room for this one, so I'm just going to put that there. Since that other one's broken, it forces to skip one. So put one here. one here. Okay. Got one there. Let's skip one here. We have a lot of rivets to go. Okay. So the center, I'm surprised so many of the rivets in the middle survive. Uh-oh. See, one of the rivets fell in here, so I have to carefully push the key up. And I don't know if you can see it, but that rivet's slightly coming out, luckily. Okay, so you have to be careful. Sometimes it'll get caught under the key and it's really difficult to remove, so you want to be very careful. Okay. Now, where should I put this? Okay, there's one up here I can do. Okay, I have to kind of look over the top to see where I already put rivets. Skipped. Okay, we'll put one in here. Okay, this one will force the skip because it's broken, so put one there. Right, put another one here. I've already put one there. Okay, let's see. So there's rivets there. One, okay. No rivets there, so we'll put one here. Oh, this one we already put a bunch, so. Okay, so I'll put that one here. Yep, we got plenty, so I'm gonna just put all the rivets in. Luckily, a lot of the rivets survived on this. So I think that has enough, like, skipping. Okay, since there's missing one there and there, I'm gonna put one in the middle here. Looks like I might be able to just put most of them, so. That one has one. This one has most of them. This one has most of them, most of them, most of them, except for this bottom piece. So that I'll put one down there. Can't see, so I'm gonna, sorry, my head's getting in the way. Okay, that one doesn't even have. Okay, I'm gonna put the edge one. Actually have a bunch left, so I think I might be able to fill them all. Maybe I didn't lose any. I'll be surprised if that's the case. Okay, so there's 3 here. Whoa, okay, for some reason I didn't put any on here, so. Let's go on this one here. And I put any on the keyboard, on the space bar. That's the most important one. That's strange. Okay. Put that because the other one's broken. another one here. Okay. Alright, now I'm going to just fill up the frame if I can. And then anything left, I'll figure it out. So, sorry if my head's going to be in the way. Okay, we're going to do all of the ones around the frame now. This one's really close to the other one, so it's kind of pointless, but whatever. Any other frame ones? Got one here. Okay. Let's see. These ones all have something or skipped. Okay, I guess I'll just put these for the function keys. Well, most people don't press the function keys that much, so usually they're not that important, but whatever. Put them anyways. Okay. Let's see, what else do we got near the frame? 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm gonna put these because they're close to the space bar. We're slowly running out. Okay, let's see here, checking the secondary frame. This one doesn't even have screws, so I'm probably gonna have to use something to hold it down before I put some epoxy. Okay. This is okay. Look at this one here. Wow, I'm surprised so many of the rivets survived. Okay. Time for row 3. Okay, we're definitely missing a bunch, but should be okay. We only have 2 left. Where should I put those? So, got these 2 broken. Maybe I'll put one here. Okay, I guess we'll figure out the rest. We'll see if I can use those screws. So put one down here. And one more. Maybe put it in the same. No, that has a whole thing around it. This one has a broken one, but mostly all around. So around this one, only one. Okay, so I'm gonna put it in the center one. Alright, so all the rivets that we saved, that we didn't lose, are done. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna see if I have those screws that will fit. What did I do with that little baggie of screws? Okay, I'm gonna find the screws and I'll be back. Alright, so I found my little baggie of screws and the cut up credit cards that I'll usually use to space these keyboards. So let's see here. I don't know how many I'm gonna need. Okay, probably like 4 or 5. So let's see, hopefully these screws will fit. Okay, and these screws that I got, I think they are PH00. Alright, so let me see here. Do we have, where are the holes left? We got one. Okay, so we got one right here. So I'm going to try and screw this in the place of the rivets. Looks like it's good. Alright, let's get another 2 over here. Oops. Alright, looks like they're holding. Okay. Let's see, are there any left? Got another one here. Alright, and I think that's all of them. The rest we're probably going to have to use epoxy. Actually, there's one more here. Is that it? Yep. So the rest we're going to have to use epoxy if it's not holding well, but we'll see. I'm going to test it first. And if all the keys are pretty solid, then we don't need the epoxy, but if they are pushing through, then we're going to have to use some epoxy. So the way you test, so here you can see, if I push on the back of the shift key, I don't know if you can see, but here it's like bowing out. Maybe if I show it like this, there, yeah, so you can see it moves around. So we're going to need epoxy there. So that's what we're going to have to do. Okay, so usually for that, what I do is I'll press the keys and then I'll see where it's kind of bowing out. So I can see like over here a little bit it's bowing out. So let me show you what I do for that. I'm gonna get all these broken, let me get all these screws and stuff out here. I'm gonna pour them out. Okay. Alright, so we're gonna take these out. And I'm gonna put the screws back in the bag. Probably should get a separate bag for the screws in these, but they're used for the same job, so I kind of keep them together. Okay. Alright. Okay, I'm gonna pour these back in the bag. Sorry, I'm going off camera a lot and not pausing it, but it's kind of a lot of work to keep switching over. Okay, so let's see if I can get all of these screws back in. There we go. Okay, so I got all those screws back in. Alright, so now what we're going to do, again, you want to press on the back and see where it's kind of bowing up. So I can see like over here it's bowing up. So what you do, you get like little pieces of cut up credit card. And then you basically want to, well, I'll use the needle for this, but I get underneath and then I hold the key up. And while I'm holding the key up, I will just put the piece of credit card in there to keep it so it pulls the key against the keyboard. So now if I try and push it, it holds it in place, so that's good. Alright, and basically you just go around the whole keyboard and search for weak spots like that, and those are the spots that need the, what do you call, that will need the support with the credit card, cut up credit cards. Okay, Luckily this one isn't too bad, so here it's also bad, so we're going to flip this over, and that's between these two keys. So usually these smaller keys are a bit more difficult to do, so what you got to do, kind of have to lift it. Let's see, you get like a small piece of this. Same thing, if you can get it underneath. If you can't, then I don't know, then you basically just have to hope that it pulls itself in enough that you can do it. So yeah, this key is kind of not, oh there we go. Okay, so usually what I do, if you can get it underneath one key, and then you can kind of lift one of these bigger keys up and kind of slide it under. Hopefully it will go. Usually it's kind of difficult to do these, but do what you can. Alright, kind of lift that and slide that under. There we go. Okay, and then that should be good. Right, let's continue checking down the line. I think everything else, oh, this bottom half is not good. Okay, and this upper thing's not good. Okay, so down here, these bottom ones, we'll see if it stays, but sometimes it doesn't work right. Okay, lift up the command key, get that underneath, there we go. Hopefully that's enough. Yep, okay, that holds it in place. And again up here as well. So this whole row up here is kind of bad, so let's see what we can do. Right, so I'll probably do it with like 2 of them. So try and go under the F9 and the F11 keys. So we're just doing every other skipping. Okay. There. And let's get underneath the 0 key. And try and slide that over. If we can't, oops. I didn't want to rip that up. Okay. Be careful not to damage these keys. I have a whole bunch of replacements, so it's okay, but most people won't have all the replacement keys to do that, so you want to be careful. Okay, go, and then last one. So this is going to have to hold basically overnight. Well, I'm going to put some epoxy there, and then these are basically going to hold this up overnight. Okay. Get under there, lift up the plus key. Okay, you don't want it to go, oops. Oh, let's get it under here first and see if that will help. Probably not. All right, so hopefully that will hold this all in place. And now what we're gonna do, we're gonna get some epoxy, and then we're gonna fill these little gaps, okay? So let me put this stuff away, and I will be back. All right, so I'm back. So what I use is this JB Weld. I don't use the quick stuff, though. I guess for this case, you don't need super strong glue, but you want it to be pretty strong. So I use JB Weld, all right? And this is just a 2-part epoxy. You just want a little bit of each, since we don't need to fill up too many of these. I probably don't need too much. Let's see how many little pieces need. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. Okay, so about 44. So you can just make a whole bunch if you want. I kind of try and judge how much I'll need. So probably about there. Okay. And you just gotta kind of match the same amount of the black one. Alright. Sure, whatever tool you're using to get the epoxy out, that you're using a different side for both parts. Otherwise, you'll mix it together in the tube and you will screw up the whole tube. Okay. So I have this toothpick, one side I use for the black one and one side I use for the white one. Alright, so about that. I think that's about even. Okay. Oops, I'll put that away after. Alright, and then just get that there. You don't want the tool to get mixed together either, so be careful with that. Alright, let me put this away before I drop it on everything else. Alright. And I'm doing this at like 2 in the morning or something right now. I don't know what time it is anymore. Yeah, it's almost 2 a.m. Alright, so we got that. We're going to stir these two together. I don't think I'm going to get much sleep. Alright, stir this together. Sorry, I'm going off camera. Just stir the two things until they're completely mixed and you can't see any more black or white. I like using this clear container because I can see underneath and see that there's still like a layer of white on the container. And then I can kind of scrape it up, or a layer of black, either one, so you can see. Okay. Alright, so we're good here. Alright, so now what you do, you just get a little blob on the tip of the screwdriver or whatever you're using to stir it up, and then find all the parts where there's no rivet, and then just touch the epoxy there. Okay, you don't want to put too much, just some to fill up the little gap. You might have to actually wipe it up later because I think I put too much actually. So it's not really a problem unless you push it down and it flows into here. You don't want it to flow in there, so I'll clean it up later. Okay. As long as you got a little bit on the broken piece and the keyboard itself, then you should be good. I actually made way too much epoxy. Okay, so now I'm not getting enough, so I need to dip the screwdriver back on. Okay. Hopefully I'm keeping everything in view of the camera because it's hard to look at what I'm recording while I'm doing what I'm doing, because I don't want to look away from what I'm doing every time. Okay. And if you got too much on one, you can kind of pick it up and then go ahead and dab it on the other one. So clean that up a little bit. They mostly all look okay. This one has too much. Sorry, I'm going like way out of view. But hopefully you get the idea. It's pretty straightforward. We're just, since the rivets are broken off, we're using epoxy to replace the broken off heads. And just keep going. Well, it's always better to have more than less and then have to worry about making it while everything else is like hardening up. So no big deal. Just feel bad that so much is going to waste. Okay, and just continue doing this for every single missing rivet. And this stuff takes a while to completely harden, like overnight, so you want to leave your MacBook and not use the keyboard overnight. Okay, about 7 hours or so I think should be good. I mean, I'm sure it hardens sooner, but to be safe, give it 7 hours. Usually I tell people just give it like 24 hours, because sometimes if you tell them like 8 hours, they'll be like, oh, okay, it's been like 5, it's close enough, and then they'll start using it. So you want to give like a time to make sure that nobody will try and use it ahead of time. Okay, I think we're getting there. Oh, we have to do all the function keys at the top. So basically the broken credit card things are there to hold the keyboard up in place, and then once all the epoxy hardens, you can take those out and it should stay in place. And this side is missing all the epoxy, so it's kind of worse. Oops, way too much. And we will actually put the backlight thing on top before this completely hardens, just to make sure everything stays flat. If you want, you can put pieces of tape or something over these first, so that way the backlight won't stick. If you have more time and you don't need to reassemble it right away, you can just put like some tape or something over this and just smush it down to make sure it stays flat. But in the interest of time, I'm gonna reassemble this while it's still curing, and hopefully the keyboard backlight won't ever need to be peeled back off. If not, I do have the replacement one, so worst case, I do have a backup. Okay, but yeah, in most cases you probably wouldn't want to just stick the backlight thing right away, because then when you go to remove it, it's gonna tear it up, since the epoxy will be glued to it. To put more. I told the customer they can pick it up anytime in the morning, so hopefully they're not going to come like at 6 o'clock, because then I don't know if it'll be hardened enough yet. Hopefully, if they come, it'll be something reasonable like 9. But anyways, just continue putting all the epoxy. Okay, just double checking, making sure everything looks good. Sorry, I'm going off camera again. Hopefully I'm getting most of it on camera. Okay, let's see. Did I get? I'm missing a bunch, or let's see. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I'm only missing like 6 of them. The others go. There's 2 more I'm missing, but I don't see. Oh, oops, I actually think I missed 7. There's one up in this corner. Oops, sorry, I'm going out of camera again. Okay, what am I missing now? 1 here. What else? Okay, see another one here. Okay, did I get them all? Okay, I'm gonna do one more quick close-up look. Sorry, the close-up look is more for myself than for the camera. But Also to see if I need to add more. I see one that's not a good job. I need to put more epoxy in there. Okay, I think I got them all. Alright, I'm gonna fix this one. Okay, I think we are good to go. So now we're gonna, let's clean this stuff up before I get epoxy everywhere. Whoops, I'm getting it all over my finger now. Okay, take that out of the way. Clean the epoxy off. Okay, so all that extra epoxy, just gonna throw it away, I guess. Don't know what else to do with it for now. Okay. More paper. Okay, cleaned up that stuff. Now, oops. Next, we're gonna put it all back together. So, hope you had fun through that part. All right, now let's see. Where did I? Okay. So now we're going to be putting back the backlight. All right, let's zoom out so you can see everything. All right, so the best way to do that is you can see these little circle holes and they line up with these raised screw holes. So you want to put that over the screw holes, okay? And push those down first. And that's the best way to get everything lined up. All right, after that, you can go ahead and push down all these adhesive areas, just like that. Okay, same thing here. And again, you kind of want to push down so that the epoxy will be flattened and not kind of bubbling up. Though it's not too important since the motherboard will be on top, but you do want to make sure that nothing is sticking up too high that it pushes and puts pressure on the motherboard or the logic board. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to peel this thing off because the original one was like folded down like that. Uh-oh, battery's low. Shoot. Keep recording, please. Okay. Alright, so we're going to peel this off if we can. Right, you want to hold down the keyboard cable because you don't want to damage it. Oh, actually, this isn't even an adhesive strip, so I guess we just leave that on there. Okay, I guess we'll leave that on there. And what I'm going to do is we'll take this piece because that was there before. Fold that flat. And while you're holding that flat, you don't want to bend the keyboard cable too much, and then we're gonna put this piece on top because that's how it was before. All right, now we're gonna get the motherboard and the batteries and everything. Okay, so first piece you want is that small board. Okay, the battery we're gonna put later. So you want this small board first. Put that into place. All right, we're gonna get the screw. That was a T8 screw. Alright, hopefully my phone will survive long enough. And it's not going to overheat. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to have to work fast to put this stuff back together. Alright, make sure that these metal clips go underneath. So as you can, I don't know if you can see, but right now they're on top. So to make them go underneath, make sure you tilt it at an angle and then kind of just push these to make sure they go underneath. Okay, there we go. If you don't make them go underneath, then they can cause problems. They'll push up on the case and it won't close properly. Okay, and I'm going to hold both in place, tighten that down, and I do want that one screw, so we're going to switch now to the T5. Okay, right, T5, and we're going to put this one screw in. Hopefully you made sure everything lined up properly. If it doesn't, if it's not pushed over far enough, then these ports might not work properly. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this metal plate, put this on top. Alright, and that uses the T3 screwdrivers. So let's put back these T3 screws. Okay, I'm going to put them in loosely first. Make sure it's all lined up right. I don't know if that's lined up right. It's not. Oh, there we go. Okay, make sure it goes over those little metal nubs. There we go. Hopefully that cable is sticking out far enough to plug into the keyboard. Alright, now let's tighten down all these screws. This is probably one of my longest videos I've made. As far as computer repairs go. And that's even though I paused a whole bunch and didn't show completely everything. Okay, so we got all of that in. Alright, next we're going to get the motherboard. So put this in, make sure to keep the microphone cable out of the way, as well as the backlight cable and the keyboard cable and all these. Okay, so make sure they end up on top. That's going to be the tricky part because we have to put it at an angle, make sure these metal things go under, and then you want to line up the headphone jack here and then drop it down. Make sure again that these cables end up on top. The keyboard cable is going to be a little tricky, but you got to get underneath. Let's see here. Come on. Gotta lift this back up. Keyboard cable. Come on, keyboard cable. Stay on top of things. Alright. Uh-oh. It's popping back down again. The keyboard cable is going to be kind of a pain. Might have to use some tape. Let's see. There we go. Alright, make sure the headphone jack stays lined up properly. Again, make sure all these cables end up on top. Alright, I'm going to try and plug in the keyboard cable before I put the battery so it's easier. What I do is I kind of get the tip and pull it back as I bow the middle outwards. And then try and slot it in. Can be a little tricky. I might have to use a needle or something. So because there's no tape on there, you're gonna have to get some tape to kind of help do that. But use some tape to help kind of pull it back a little and line it up. Here we go. Alright, it's all lined up. Push that latch down. Okay, again, you want to make sure that the headphone jack is lined up. If you want, you can hold this over to the side as you put in one of the screws. Make sure you're using the right size. I need the T5 again. Okay, so let's see here. Got this one screw here. Alright, and hold that over. Make sure it's all lined up. Put that screw in. Hopefully everything else is lined up right. Sorry, my head's getting in the way again. Alright, we're gonna plug this cable in. Let me zoom in some. This cable in. Just like that. Alright, so let's go ahead and start reconnecting things. So the keyboard backlight, just get it lined up and then push it down. Right. Microphone connector, you gotta make sure that the adhesive isn't sticking on it. Okay, peel that back. Right, I don't know if I'll be able to show this on camera, but get that in the slot. Oops. Okay, pull that in. Once you pull that in, push the latch down, then put the adhesive back. Alright. Let's go ahead and start putting back more screws. Okay. Screw here. Let's see here. Screw here. Screw here. And we got the fan, so make sure it's lined up right. I'll put one loosely first. This one loosely as well. Oops. Come on, fan, go in. There we go. And then this one for the heat sink. Alright, make sure you get the rubber piece in right. Although, actually we're going to have to put that back later when we get the eyesight or the webcam cable in place. So let's tighten these screws down. This one down as well. Okay. Alright, so now we got the speakers and the screen. We can plug the charge cable in. The trick to putting this charge port cable is you have your charger unplugged, get this thing in place. I have this little adapter, so I don't need to worry about the charge port being unplugged, but get that in place. I'll use the adapter like that to kind of pull this in and hold it in place. Okay, and while you're kind of pulling on this to make sure that it's pulled as far against the case as possible, you can tighten down the screws. Okay, just like that. Just like this. Alright, then get this cable, line that up. And then I always like to pinch the two pieces together to make sure that all the force isn't just being put in one direction. Okay, let's see here. We got this cable here. We do need to put back the speakers first, but let's put back the battery. Okay, so the way I'm going to do the battery, because we no longer have the adhesive that was there before, I'm going to use this kind of tape. Hopefully you can see. Okay, let me zoom out a little bit, but let's take this adapter off. Okay, so I'll just get some tape like this. Okay. And then we'll just cut multiple pieces here, but what you do is you just get it around the size of that. Pull that up. Okay. I cut this in half and make two. Okay. Pull it up like that. And we're just going to stick this under here. Just so the battery doesn't move around too much. Okay. I don't know where they get this foamy type of double stick tape, so this is what I end up having to use. Okay. Another 2 pieces. Okay. Same thing, just roll it up. Okay. And the small one, because there's not too much area without that kind of adhesive, just make it cover all the old adhesive as well. Okay. This, like that. Alright. Pull that over. Okay, and we're just going to put it over the entire battery pack. That old foam stuff makes it hard for the batteries to stick back down. So kind of just do the best you can. Alright, so let's see, let's do this. I'm gonna flip this over. You want to maneuver it all at the same time. You want to line up the bottom parts with the rubber pieces first. Slowly drop it down. Try and keep these pushed to be more flat against the rest of the batteries. And same thing with the small ones. Okay. And line up this hole and put this screw for the battery in. Okay. And push these down so they don't move around. You can test to make sure they're not moving. Okay, looks good. They're holding up well. Alright, so now we can put back the speaker here. So we'll put the speaker first. You have to put it at an angle so the wire can go underneath. Okay. And then lay it down. Get the connector, just line it up and push it down. Okay, I'm gonna put back these screws. Wow, I'll be surprised if anyone watches this entire video. Okay. Alright, just like that. Get all those screws in. Other speaker, same thing. Put it at an angle like this, and then slowly drop it down. Get this cable, line it up, and push it into place. Make sure this adhesive kind of sticks back over there. Right. Put back all these screws. Jeez, this video is probably like 30 gigs. Alright, tighten up all these screws. Alright, let's put these cables back in, line them up. If you're wondering, it's the ones that look different are the ones that go to each side, okay? That's how you know. Okay. Lined up, come on. Alright. Line it up, push it down. Get these little brackets back on top. I hope my battery's gonna last long enough. I had to put the charger on, so I mean my battery pack charger. Alright, tighten these on. Get this piece in. Tighten that down. get the trackpad cable, make sure to flip the latch up. Get dust out, okay. And once you have the latch up, let me see if I can zoom in and show this a little clearer. Okay, you kind of have to make sure that this part doesn't touch down or the adhesive will stick to it. So you want to kind of hold this up as you kind of slot this in. There we go, like that. Put the latch down. Then you can kind of push this down. Oops, I forgot to put that cable before we put those screws. So let's take these 2 screws back out. Okay, take that latch out, get this lined up. Push that down. Once you got that down, you can kind of push this down. Usually I just let the cover push that down to make sure it gets evenly distributed. I don't know how you would. Let's see, okay. Anyways, get these screws back in. And we're almost done. Make sure this adhesive here goes down. Okay, now we're going to flip this back over. Let's zoom out. I'll zoom out more this time so you can kind of see a little bit better. Get the screen. Okay, you want to be careful with this. Make sure these cables stay up. Okay, drop that in place. Okay, and I like to use the red thread locker for these, so that way the screws don't come loose. And what you want to do, oops, I need the T8 screwdriver again. What did I do with the T8 one? Oh no. I'm running out of time. Where's the T8? Here it is. Okay. Okay. So what I like to do for this, I like to put in 1 screw on each side, but not too tight. It's going to be a little different because this one has a case on it, but we'll see here. Alright, so not too tight. And then what you want to do is close the screen slowly. Since this one has a case on it, it kind of helps align it, I guess. And then what I do is I usually use my fingers on the edges like this to align the screen. Okay. And then once you do that, then you can tighten the thing all the way. But it looks like this case actually helps align it already. Alright. Anyways, then you tighten it all the way. Let's zoom in again. Alright, and then now I want to apply the thread locker. And here, just put a little bit. You don't use much, just very little, not even a full drop. Okay, then we'll tighten that down. And take this screw back out and then add some thread locker. Okay. Alright, then we can put this part down. You want to put this cable first, the antenna. Okay, and what you do, or not the antenna, the eyesight webcam cable. Okay, so what you do is you put that in. Let me zoom in. Okay, and then you use the screwdriver to like slowly nudge each side to walk it in. Alright, left, right, just like that. Slowly walking the connector in until it's flush. Alright, just like that. Then you can push this cable down. Make sure this cable goes underneath, tucked under. Oops, I need to zoom back out. Sorry. Then you can push this down. Make sure it goes down and gets tucked under this little hook. Alright, then we're going to put this. And I'm going to loosely fit the screw first because we need to get both of these in. Right, so we'll get the screw here. Just loosely fit that one in. Get the other screw. loosely fit this one in. Alright, now that we got both, we can tighten them down. Okay, just like that. Then what you probably want to do is remove these middle inner screws closest to the hinge. And we're going to use the T5 screwdriver to put back those little brackets that were there before. Alright, let's put these little brackets back in. Okay. Almost done. Go, tighten that screw in place. Get the other little bracket for the other side. Alright, tighten that in place. Alright, switch back to the T8. Don't forget to add the thread locker on these. You don't really need it, but it does help prevent the hinge from getting loose in the future. Okay, tighten that one down. Alright, and last one. Tighten that down. Alright, so now we got all of that. Let's flip this back over. Put these rubber things back. So these rubber pieces, the extended parts, go towards the center, just in case you're wondering. And also so you know the adhesive goes towards the outsides. Okay. Alright, now we're going to reconnect the LCD or Lvds connector. It is very important to do this before you reconnect the battery. Alright. If you reconnect the battery, make sure that you press and hold the power button to drain any power before you try and reconnect the LCD connector. Otherwise you can damage it. Alright, I need to look over the top of this so I can see what I'm doing. Alright, get the connector lined up, just like that. Use the tab, pull it in, and then put the latch back down. Alright. Now we're going to put the wireless connectors back in. So to do that, you just line them up. Right, you know they're lined up when they're over the top, and if you try and move them around, they actually will stay in place. Let's see, so if you can see, they're moving around so easily right now, so they're not lined up. There we go. So now if I rub my fingernail over it, actually stays in there, and then you can try and push it down. Come on, is it already in? Oops. This one's a little tricky because all three are attached to each other. Go in place. There we go. Alright, push that down. Alright. Okay. This one, okay. Alright, so now they're all lined up and all snapped in. And let's zoom back out. I think that's everything. Double check all the connections. Speakers connected, trackpad. Right, that's connected. That backlight, screen, this keyboard. Alright, fan, and the camera. Looks good. So now we can snap the battery connector back in. Just line it up just like that and push it down. And there's lots of dust on here, so I'm gonna... Okay. Alright. So we got that. Now we just need to get the metal cover. Line that up. Snap it back down. And what I like to do is a PRAM and SMC reset when I first turn it back on. So the way you do that, alright, let's get the charger. Okay. So what you do, plug it in. If the battery should be less than 90% to be able to see this, but you'll see the orange charging light, control option shift on the left, power button, and you'll see it goes from orange to green. That's how you know you did the SMC reset right. Then you want to do a PRAM reset. So to do that, oh, I don't want it to turn on yet, so I'm going to hold the Option key and then I'm going to turn it back off. Right, so I'm going to force shut it off. Okay, and then to do a PRAM reset, you turn it on and then immediately do Command Option PNR. So turn it on, Command Option PNR. You'll hear it chime. You should see the screen flash off, and then it should chime again. So once the screen flashes off, you can let go, and then it should turn itself back on. And that's how you know that you did a PRAM reset properly. So that's pretty much all there is. I'm going to put back the screws on the bottom, but hopefully this video helped you guys. If it did, please like and subscribe. This was one of the hardest videos to do, and the longest ones. So yeah, and now the thing is no longer booting into that recovery safe mode, and hopefully the rest of the keys all work. But again, once you leave it overnight, you can take these little pieces out and you should be good to go. So yeah, again, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.